The 7 secrets of Scorpio that reveal their dark side. Imagine a sign that carries within itself the power of life and death, a sign that can heal you or destroy you. Scorpio isn't just intensity, it's the hidden abyss of the human soul. If you think you know a Scorpio, you might just be seeing the mask, because behind the penetrating gaze and profound silence, there are secrets so dark that few dare to face them. But before we dive into this mystery, answer me this. Have you ever felt that chill when a Scorpio looks into your eyes? Have you noticed how they can read your emotions without you saying a word? Leave your experience with this enigmatic sign in the comments. Scorpio, the sign that dwells in darkness. Those born under this mystery carry within themselves a hidden fire, capable of transforming anything they touch. But are you ready to see beyond the surface? Did you know that, statistically, Scorpio is the sign most associated with professions like psychology, forensic medicine, and criminal investigation? It's no coincidence. They have a natural attraction to what is hidden, to what haunts the human soul. Many believe that Scorpio is just emotional intensity, passion, and mystery. But the truth is that their energy goes far beyond that. Behind the magnetism, there are shadows that reveal the true power, and also the true danger, of this sign. And look, if you're watching this video, you're probably a curious Scorpio wanting to know yourself better, or someone who has a Scorpio in their life and wants to understand why they are so different. Either way, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Universal Zodiac. Today you'll learn the 7 dark secrets of Scorpio that reveal their most enigmatic face. Stay with me until the end, because the last secret will completely change how you see this sign. And if you want more deep astrological content, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Prepare to dive into the depths of mystery. Oh, and one thing. If you know a Scorpio closely, you'll get chills with secret number 4. Don't blame me if after this you start looking at them differently. Secret 1. The gaze that penetrates souls. Scorpio doesn't look at you. They look through you. The Scorpio gaze is magnetic because it's born from Pluto, the planet of death and regeneration. But let's understand this better. Pluto, in Roman mythology, was the god of the underworld, the one who governed the dead and the hidden treasures of the earth. It's not just attention, it's a kind of emotional X-ray that captures what you're trying to hide. Let me tell you a real story that perfectly illustrates this. A Scorpio friend of mine, let's call her Anna, works as a therapist. She told me that in less than 10 minutes of conversation, she can already identify the main traumas and fears of a patient, just by observing micro-expressions, the way the person breathes, the topics they avoid touching. This isn't just professional gift. It's pure Scorpio in action. Spiritually, this gaze functions as a mirror of the soul. In front of it, masks fall. It's as if the Scorpio were capable of opening internal doors that you yourself fear to cross. In daily life, this manifests in impressive ways. It's that friend who asks you, "Are you okay?" when you haven't said anything, but they notice something in your expression. It's the partner who knows when you're lying before you even finish the sentence. It's the Scorpio boss who identifies who on the team is dissatisfied without needing reports. But here comes the dark side. This power can heal, but it can also destroy. Not everyone is prepared to be seen so deeply. There have been Scorpios who use this ability to manipulate, blackmail, or hurt. It's like having a weapon. It can protect or attack, depending on the intention. Tell me in the comments, have you ever had that feeling of being scanned by a Scorpio? How was that experience? Secret 2, the force of hidden destruction. Scorpio doesn't just build, they need to destroy, to be reborn. This sign carries the energy of the phoenix, but also of the desert scorpion, creatures that symbolize death and rebirth. In astrology, this is a reflection of Pluto and Mars, planets linked to war and transformation. Mars brings destructive energy, while Pluto brings regeneration. From a psychological perspective, Scorpio represents what Jung called nigredo, the dark phase of alchemy where everything needs to rot, to then be reborn, purified. It's the inevitable cycle of life: death, putrefaction, rebirth. Imagine a forest that needs to be burned so new seeds can flourish. Fire destroys, but also fertilizes. That's the Scorpio heart functioning. They're not afraid to end things that no longer serve, even if these things are important to other people. In real life, this manifests in various fascinating ways. Relationships. Scorpio is capable of ending a years-long relationship from 1 hour to the next if they perceive the relationship no longer has evolutionary purpose. For them, it's better the pain of separation than the slow death of an empty relationship. Career. I know Scorpios who left stable jobs, promising careers, just because they felt those things no longer transformed them. They prefer to start from zero than to remain stagnant. Creative self-sabotage. Sometimes they destroy their own projects when they feel they can do better. It's that writer who throws away an almost finished book because they had a more powerful vision. But here's the side that can scare. This capacity for destruction isn't limited to themselves. Scorpios can be relentless when they decide to clean their lives. They cut people, burn bridges, eliminate memories, and do this with surgical coldness that can shock those who don't understand their nature. The question that remains is, to what extent is this destruction necessary for evolution, and when does it become self-destructive? Scorpio always walks this thin line between renewal and devastation. Secret 3. The Guardian of Secrets. If you entrust a secret to Scorpio, they carry it to death, but their own. They never reveal. This sign is like a tomb sealed with 7 keys. It carries secrets, traumas, and memories in absolute silence. Spiritually, Scorpio is the guardian of the collective unconscious, the one who dives into what no one else dares to face. Throughout history, many of the great confessors, psychoanalysts, and investigators were Scorpios. Freud, for example, had strong Scorpio influence in his astrological chart. It's no coincidence that he created psychoanalysis, the art of unearthing secrets from the unconscious. Psychologically, this makes Scorpio reserved, distrustful, and sometimes completely inaccessible. They function as emotional sponges. They absorb information, feelings, and secrets from others, but rarely let anything leak back. Do this mental test. Think of the Scorpio you know best. Now tell me, how many of their deep secrets do you really know? I bet there are few, even if you've been close for years. In real life, this appears in various ways. The natural confidant. People feel compelled to tell their most intimate problems to Scorpios, even barely knowing them. The living archive. They remember details you forgot about your own life, but never use this information against you, unless you betray them. The walking enigma. Even close family members admit there are layers of the Scorpio they've never been able to access. This duality creates a mysterious and almost magical power. Whoever masters the secret masters the narrative, and Scorpio knows how to play this game better than any other sign. They become indispensable by knowing things no one else knows, but also untouchable by never revealing too much about themselves. But beware. This also means that if you do something they consider a betrayal, all the secrets you told can become weapons. Not that they'll necessarily use them, but the power to use is already intimidating by itself. Secret 4. The Silent Revenge. Scorpio doesn't forget. They wait. This sign is ruled by Mars, planet of war, and by Pluto, planet of shadow and slow transformation. Mars gives the warlike energy, but Pluto teaches strategic patience. The combination creates an energy that doesn't explode in the heat of the moment, but moves in silence, calculatedly, waiting for the right instant to restore balance. Spiritually, for Scorpio, revenge isn't resentment. It's cosmic restoration. They feel that the universe acts through them to correct injustices. It's as if they were agents of karma, executors of the universal law of return. Unlike Aries, who explodes immediately, or Leo, who makes public drama, Scorpio's revenge is like a poison that doesn't kill immediately, but spreads slowly until it hits exactly the point that hurts the other most. I'll tell you 3 real examples, obviously without identifying anyone. Case 1 round. I knew a Scorpio who was betrayed by his best friend in a business deal. He didn't shout, didn't sue, just distanced himself. 3 years later, when this ex-friend was desperate for a job opportunity that only my Scorpio acquaintance could offer, the answer was a simple no. No explanations, no drama, just no. Case 2. A Scorpio woman discovered that her sister-in-law talked badly about her, behind her back to the whole family. Instead of confronting, she simply began to be politely cold. But whenever there was a family party, mysteriously situations arose where the sister-in-law was embarrassed. Never anything that could be traced back to her, but always at the exact moment. Case 3. A Scorpio colleague was humiliated by his boss in public. He continued working normally for months, but he began meticulously documenting every error, every questionable decision of the boss. When the company underwent audit, guess where the evidence came from that led to the boss's dismissal? The surgical coldness. What most impresses about Scorpio revenge isn't the intensity, but the precision. They study their victims, identify exactly where it hurts most, and attack there. It's almost scientific in its cruelty. The ethical question here is complex. To what extent is this justice legitimate, and when does it become just refined cruelty? Scorpio always believes they're right, but the rest of the world doesn't always agree. Secret 5. The desire that consumes. In Scorpio, desire isn't just passion, it's power. This sign is driven by the intensity of wanting and is associated with the 8th astrological house. Sex, death, deep transformations, shared resources. It's no coincidence that these areas are connected. They all involve fusion, penetration, and mutual transformation. Psychologically, Scorpio desire doesn't seek just physical pleasure, but emotional and spiritual dominion. They want to possess not just the body, but the soul of the other. It's a totalizing desire that doesn't accept divisions or half measures. Compare with other signs. Taurus desires comfort and stability. Leo desires admiration and drama. Sagittarius desires adventure and freedom. Scorpio desires transformation through complete fusion. In real life, this creates intense and sometimes disturbing dynamics. In relationships, Scorpios can become obsessive. They want to know everything about their partner, passwords, thoughts, fears, dreams. For them, true intimacy means total transparency. In seduction, they're masters at creating sexual tension through mystery. They know that desire grows in uncertainty, so they alternate between intense approach and strategic distance. In passion, when a Scorpio desires you, it's like being chosen by a force of nature. It can be overwhelming, transformative, but also suffocating for those who aren't prepared. To under the dark side of desire, here's the danger. This intensity can transform into obsession. When desire isn't reciprocated, it can become emotional persecution, manipulation, using sex and seduction as forms of control, extreme possessiveness, not being able to accept that the other has their own life. It's like a flame that never goes out, even when everything around turns to ash. The problem is that a flame that never goes out can both illuminate and set everything on fire. Bwah. But when well-directed, Scorpio desire has a unique transformative power. They can awaken dormant aspects in people, reveal hidden potentials, lead others to know themselves at deeper levels. Desire, in Scorpio, is never neutral. It always transforms who feels it and who receives it. Secret 6. The silence that threatens. Scorpio's greatest power isn't in what they say, but in what they keep silent. This sign is absolute master of the unspoken. Astrologically, it carries the depth of Pluto, planet of hidden things, of the underground, of what remains in shadows. Spiritually, Scorpio's silence is like an abyss. The more you try to decipher it, the more it swallows you. From a psychological viewpoint, Scorpio intuitively understands that silence creates more tension than 1,000 words. It's like being before an enigma without answer, which generates anxiety just by the mystery. The human brain hates information voids. We try to fill them with our worst fantasies. There are various types of silence that Scorpio uses. 1. Observing silence. When they stay quiet to study a situation or person, it's that moment where you feel you're being analyzed but don't know for what. 2. Punitive silence. When you did something wrong and they simply stop talking. It's not childish silent treatment. It's something deeper, more final. 3. Protective silence. When they don't speak to protect their own or others' secrets, it's an impenetrable, almost sacred silence. 4. Threatening silence. The most dangerous. When you know they know something about you, but don't know what or when, they'll use this information. In social life, this creates a fascinating dynamic. Scorpios frequently become the center of attention precisely by not speaking. People become obsessed with discovering what they think, feel, know. Imagine a work meeting where everyone is discussing a complex problem. While some talk too much, others make jokes to relieve tension. The Scorpio just observes. Their silence creates growing tension because everyone knows that when they speak, it will be something important. And when they finally speak, they usually go straight to the point no one else had courage to touch. This silence can intimidate because where there are no words, imagination creates monsters. And Scorpio knows how to use this to their advantage. Mystery is their greatest weapon. They become a blank canvas where others project their fears and fantasies. The dark side appears when this silence is used to manipulate. Some Scorpios discover they can control situations and people simply by not talking, creating atmospheres of tension where everyone walks on eggshells around them. Secret 7. The power of soul transformation. Scorpio doesn't live. They transmute. The final and deepest secret. The last and darkest secret of Scorpio is also their greatest gift. The sacred gift of transforming pain into power, death into rebirth, darkness into light. No other sign understands the inner darkness so deeply, and no other has so much power to transform it. Astrologically, this power comes from Pluto, ruler of the underworld, who guides Scorpio through the darkest corridors of the unconscious. Pluto was not just the god of the dead, but also the god of hidden riches, the gold that forms in Earth's depths under extreme pressure and heat. Spiritually, Scorpio is like the medieval alchemist, enters the shadows, deals with poison, touches what no one dares touch, and from there extracts pure wisdom. It's like someone who voluntarily descends to hell and returns bringing fire in their hands. Let me share real stories that illustrate this power. Story Awanhuan, a Scorpio woman who suffered childhood abuse. Instead of becoming a permanent victim, she specialized in therapy for abuse victims. She transformed her deepest pain into an instrument of healing for others. Today, she saves lives using exactly the wisdom that was born from her own darkness. Story 2. A Scorpio man who lost everything, family, house, company, in a series of tragedies. He could have given up, but he used the experience of total loss to create a business helping people in bankruptcy rebuild their lives. His pain became his mission. Story 3. A Scorpio woman who fought drug addiction for years. When she finally healed, she didn't just stop there. She studied the neurological mechanisms of addiction and today develops new treatment methods. Her own fall became a ladder for others to climb. This process isn't romantic or easy. Scorpio goes through phases. 1. Symbolic death. Something in their lives needs to die completely. 2. Permanence in the void. A period in the abyss without answers. Shadow integration. Accepting and embracing the dark part of the experience. 4. Conscious rebirth. Emerging transformed, wiser, and more powerful. In real life, this manifests in the incredible capacity Scorpios have to completely reinvent themselves. They can lose everything, suffer traumas that would break other people, fall into abysses that seem bottomless. But they always are reborn stronger, like the phoenix that raises its wings amid the ashes. This is the true power of the sign, not just surviving the darkness, but transforming their own pain into life force. They become lighthouses for others who are lost in darkness, because they've already been there and know the way back to light. These were the 7 dark secrets of Scorpio that reveal their true nature, the gaze that penetrates souls and reveals hidden truths, the destructive force that renews and transforms, the guardian silence of secrets that intimidates and protects, the silent revenge that restores cosmic balance, the desire that consumes and transforms, the silence that threatens and seduces, and finally, the greatest of all, the sacred capacity to transmute the soul itself. Scorpio teaches us the deepest of lessons. That shadow isn't a burden to be avoided, but a door to be crossed. A door that, when crossed with courage, reveals not just our true light, but our real power to transform the world. And you, are you ready to look inside yourself and face the shadows you carry? Or do you prefer to continue believing you already know all the power that exists within a Scorpio heart? Tell me in the comments, which of these secrets impressed you most? Do you recognize these traits in the Scorpios, or could it be that you yourself carry this dark and transformative side? If this content touched you deeply, share it with someone who needs to better understand this fascinating sign. And don't forget to subscribe for more astrological revelations that go beyond the superficial. Until the next mystery. And remember, in Scorpio, nothing is what it seems on the surface.